Hi, Rosolena. It's Debbie here. It's very nice to meet you through this awesome technology that we have. Anyway, some of the things that you mentioned in your video, I had not really, thought about too much. And so I'm glad that you added some stuff to your video that was kind of just different insights. The first thing that we learned in our book that you brought up was about some of the hurdles that people might have before they even go to counseling. You mentioned gender, religion, and ethnicity. My husband and I, this past year, we went to counseling for several months, weekly counseling, just working through some marital things. We're in the empty nest years and just had to kind of get to know each other again. But I remember just the fear of having to call the counselor, and it's silly even saying it out loud right now, but I think it is important to thank our clients and to acknowledge that they have done something really big by coming to counseling. That it's hard to make that phone call and to walk in the door. Anyway, so I appreciate you for bringing that out. You also mentioned something that I had heard during one of my bachelor's classes, or maybe one of the semesters, that counselors were being referred to as helpers. And I agree with you that I prefer the term counselor over helper. My reason being that a helper could be anything from somebody that helps around the house to a yard, helper, to anything, to an assistant teacher or something. And for me, counseling is more definitive of what we're doing. We're doing more than just helping. So I agree that I prefer counseling versus the word helping. You also mentioned about the touch that the female counselor had with the gentleman, whether it was appropriate or whether it was harmful or helpful. And I think that would probably be something that would have to be taken on a case-by-case basis. Obviously, the videos that we watched were just for educational purposes, so they were set up, very sterile. But I think that if you were working with somebody, hopefully by the time you felt comfortable enough or felt like it was appropriate, that there would be some boundaries in place. But I do agree that it is very, a counselor is going to have to be discerning before they do anything, because you really don't know what might be projected on or what the client might assume. But again, I think that would have to be something on a case-by-case basis. In the video, though, I thought it was appropriate for what we watched. It just seemed to calm the gentleman down from the car wreck story that he was telling us. Anyway, I also thought that it was very interesting that you made a statement about possibly giving like an introductory sentence to the clients to give them license to correct the counselor if something that they were saying or the direction that the counselor was going, it might be incorrect. And I hadn't really thought about doing that. I don't remember seeing that done per se. I think the way that you presented it, I felt like when the male counselor recapped, when he kind of stopped the girl and he kind of recapped what they had been hearing, what he had been hearing as a counselor, and asked if that was if he was on the right path, that was a way for the counselor to, get affirmation that he was doing the right thing and he was hearing what she was saying. But I could see that it might be a valid sentence to pose out there at the beginning. When my husband and I were in marriage counseling, at first, of course, that awkwardness, the first couple of times you're a little bit awkward because you're getting to know the counselor. But I do know that by the third or fourth time that we were with our counselor, you really do develop kind of a friendship. And I don't think that any boundaries were crossed, but there is something, you're sharing a lot of personal information. You're sharing it to somebody that is hopefully unbiased and is neutral in all of their stances. And that's what I felt with the counselor that my husband and I were going to see. And I know by the third or fourth time, even if Jeremy, that was his name, even if he had not mentioned, and he didn't mention about us being able to correct him, that I would have felt very comfortable to have stopped him and said, I don't think you're understanding. So my hope is that I will be the type of counselor that will make somebody feel comfortable enough to say that. But got a long way to go and a lot to learn, and I'm enjoying the process, and I think that you are too. Have a wonderful day, and I just hope that God blesses you on your journey.